Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. As you have seen from some of my videos on my channel, I am a search and rescue volunteer in British Columbia, and I have been with Central Okanagan Search and Rescue for close to 5 years now. So I'm currently going through my changeover from winter gear to summer gear, and I thought it would be a good idea to take this time to show you what's in my pack and what my pack looks like after 5 years of search and rescue. I'll start with an overview of the pack itself. So this pack is made by a company called SAR Rescue, and it is actually a ski patrol backpack. And this pack has a lot of different pockets and zippered pouches and place to separate various items of my gear. So that's what I really like about this pack in particular, and you'll see that as I go through. As I mentioned, it's made by SAR Rescue. The model is called the Kigali 35-liter pack. Now they also make the Kigali pack as a 30-liter and a 45-liter, but I actually really like the 35-liter option, and I feel that it fits my gear very well. Alright, so on the outside of the pack, I like to keep it fairly clean, but there are a few things that I have mounted on the outside of my pack right now. I'll start with the front. I have a beaner right here. This is not a load-rated beaner, but I like to have this one on the front of my pack for hanging things like helmets or anything that I need to just quickly strap on the outside. Now moving over to this side, I currently have a 500 milliliter water bottle in here. I actually do have a 2-liter water bladder in here as well, but this is just a nice extra to have. I normally also have some bear spray with me, so now getting into the spring and summer season, I will probably put my bear spray on the outside of my pack. Coming over to this side, two things that I have here. First of all, a whistle, which is very important, especially if we're doing grid searches in search and rescue. And then another non-load rated beaner down here, which I use for clipping a GPS unit when I'm wearing it. Up on the top handle, I do have a load rated beaner, and this one's just easily, quickly accessible, but another reason I have it outside here is if I need to hang my pack somewhere on our boat, for example, I can easily just hang it up and have it out of the way. You'll see the tube for my water bladder coming over along the side here. And we'll just go over to this last side of the pack. Right now I have this survival knife attached on here. Now this one's very flexible. I don't have it on here all the time, and it really depends on what kind of situation I'm going in where I take the survival knife. If I'm in an urban environment, I definitely want to remove it and keep that in my vehicle. Then what I also have over here is this handy little water bottle holder, and I've found this quite useful. Again, for just small 500 milliliter water bottles, I can just hang an extra water bottle on here if it gets really hot in the summer, as it does when we're out hiking. Alright, we'll move on to the main component of the pack to start off with. And this is where I keep a lot of my gear that I use on a regular basis. First of all, right away at the top of the pack is my headlamp. And I like to have that easily accessible right there at the top of my pack. Now I also have room here for extra clothing, and that's where that would go. So if I'm taking extra clothing for a subject that we're finding or that we're looking for, I have room for extra clothing or other gear in the top of my pack. Now what I've done is compartmentalized things into smaller bags just to keep everything nice and organized. And I'll just pull a couple of these things out, and we'll spread them out here on a tarp. Alright, there's another pocket here in the front of my pack where I keep a survival blanket, and this one is a thicker material, so it's not the thin space blanket. This is a nice thicker material, and I really like using this, and I've used it in numerous occasions. Now I'm just gonna actually lay this out here today, and I will put all my gear out on this blanket for you. Alright, so I've taken this survival blanket out and just spread it out so we can put all the gear out on here. First thing that I next have on the top of my pack is a compass. And I like to have this easily accessible also near the top of my pack, so that I can get at it very quickly if needed. Moving on, right underneath the compass is this bag here, and this actually contains a variety of different gloves. So protecting your hands is very important in search and rescue. These are my gloves for ATV operations, so if I'm driving an ATV, I have these easily accessible right at the top of my pack. Then I've got another couple multi-purpose sets of gloves in here for some winter operations. These ones are handy because you can actually use them on a touchscreen device. And I actually keep a set of gloves in my pocket as well. So these are my general purpose go-to gloves that I use for search and rescue. Alright, continuing on in the main compartment, I have this dry sack. And basically what I have in here is a set of rain pants and a rain jacket, as well as a extra set of clothes. So it's nice and compact. I've basically vacuum sealed it, as you can tell, so it takes up very little space, but there's basically a full clothing set in here. Next is this small little bag here, and this actually contains a variety of supplies for constructing a shelter. So as I mentioned, I have this thermal blanket here, and what I have in this bag is a set of beaners, carabiners, and I have both load rated as well as non-load rated beaners. So I have two lockable load rated beaners and then some smaller ones for building a shelter or anything like that. In that same bag I have a set of tent pegs, also useful for building a shelter, a couple small bungee straps, and then these clips are used for attaching to a tarp. If there's no grommet, you can attach these clips to any tarp and just tie off on there. So I keep these in my shelter building kit. Next in the main compartment is a roll of paracord. This is 550 paracord, and I actually like storing my paracord in what is called a SAR Pack Senet. So this is a senet that is used by the Canadian Forces search and rescue technicians, and I will actually do another video at some point on how to make these SAR Pack Senets. The nice thing about them is you can deploy your rope very quickly, and it's nice and neat and doesn't take up a lot of space. And as you can see, tick season has started. We have a tick here on my paracord, and it is only April 11th, but the ticks are out, so that is always something to keep in mind when you're out in the wilderness, especially here in the Okanagan. Make sure you check yourself for ticks after you've been outside. Moving on is a small food set here. Now this I need to go through and restock, but I do have a small cup here that I can use for boiling water if I need to. And then I also have a variety of things in here. Now normally I keep a couple granola bars in here as well, and there are a few that definitely need to be replaced and replenished. But I keep a couple granola bars. I also keep some tea in here, so to make myself an apple cider tea. A couple candies if we need to get the blood sugar up. And these electrolyte tablets. So I can add these electrolyte tablets to any of my water and get my electrolytes up, especially in the summer. Now what I also have is a water purification filter right here, as well as a can opener in here. So I believe the statistics are that in British Columbia, if you walk 2 kilometers in any direction, you will come across water. Across drinkable water, so that's why I have this water filter here with me. Further down in that compartment, I have a high visibility vest. So this one's always useful, especially if we're working around roads, if we're working with helicopters, anything like that. It's always handy to have a high vis vest with you. And then at the bottom of the main compartment, I have a tarp. So this would be the main component of my shelter building kit. This is just a regular blue utility tarp. It's quite heavy and bulky, but I haven't found a replacement yet that I'm really happy with. So for now, this is the tarp that I use in my pack. Last but not least, in the main compartment, I have a small fasteners bag. And basically this just contains zip ties and duct tape, multi-purpose kind of fasteners. So a set of zip ties, wire, electrical tape, duct tape, and some elastic bands. So always good to have a variety of fasteners with you as well. Alright, so that's it for the main compartment, and we'll move on, moving backwards here in the main section of the backpack. This front pouch is where the thermal blanket came from. This here is a spot where you can actually put avalanche probes, so in the winter time I will use that for avi probes, but in the summer I just leave that empty. Further back, there's another pouch here that I'm not using for anything at the moment. And going even further back is where my water bladder is located. So it's a 2-liter water bladder, and we always carry a minimum of 2 liters of water with us when we're on a search and rescue task. So that way I've got it covered and I don't need to worry about it. Alright, next we're going to move forward to these front 2 outside compartments of the pack and go through what I have in there. Alright, this top compartment is one of the compartments that I get to very often, and it's chock full. I like to keep my medical gear in here, specifically because I have the white cross on here. And these are some things that I will use on a regular basis. First off, starting from the front, I have a set of gloves. So I also normally have some nitrile gloves in here. I need to restock those. Gloves are the first thing I see when I open that pouch. Next up, I have my CPR mask. Next is a mask. So I can use this for both medical scenarios, but also we do a lot of forest fire evacuations with our team. So when we're in a smoky environment, I have this mask with me in case I need it. Along with that, I have a couple of like bandanas and a handkerchief, as well as here I've got some of our call signs printed out on a sheet, so I keep those handy. Continuing on, it's a very basic first aid kit, so just basic first aid for myself, and we usually carry team first aid equipment like a trauma pack or something like that if we're going into a medical scenario. But this is just for basic first aid for myself when I'm out there. Continuing on, in the winter season, I carry a set of hand warmers. So there are 2 hand warmers in here, chemical hand warmers, as well as another set of both hand and body warmers. So this also has a full body warmer in here. Always good to have, especially in the winter time. I also have a blister medic kit here, basically moleskin to take care of any blisters that you might get. Alright, continuing on in the same compartment, there's another zippered pouch further in here, and I will now go through that. What I have in here is a emergency bag, so this is one of those, just a space blanket, thin one in here. Again, here just a set of tissues, an emergency poncho, a large garbage bag, so you can use that for rain shelters, for pretty much anything, as well as some toilet paper. And that's it for my top compartment here in my pack. So next we'll move on to the bottom section here. So this section is mainly, I like to think of it as my fire making section, but I also have quite a few miscellaneous items in here. So we'll start with my fire making capabilities. I have these fire lighters made by Koglins. I'm not really a big fan of these, but for now I've got them in my pack as one option of making fire. I also have this little set here that is filled with waterproof matches. So those are a lot easier for making fire quickly, so I also have matches available. I also carry a candle. So this is in case I need to light something on fire and then keep that flame going for a while. I have this candle available. I usually also carry some more fire making methods with me, either in my chest harness or in my pants or in like a vest, for example. So it's not just these items that I have with me. I also carry 2 glow sticks in here, and what I've done is I actually attached a zap strap to the outside of them, so if I need to hang them up, I've got everything I need right here in one kit. Extra sets of batteries, so AA batteries as well as AAA batteries. Some search and rescue flagging tape. And also for my fire making kit, these are cotton balls that are soaked in Vaseline. Now I've heard they don't store very well, and these have been in my pack for probably around 4 years. So I'm going to do a separate video, and I actually want to try lighting these on fire and see if they work or not after 4 years of sitting in the bottom of my search and rescue pack. Now another item that I have here for fire making that was shown to me by one of our search and rescue members. This is actually a large pencil sharpener, and you can actually use this to sharpen a stick and use those shavings as tinder and for fire starting. So I will actually probably do another separate video on fire starting methods coming up at some point in the future. Then I have this pouch here where I keep a set of binoculars. So I spend a lot of time on our rescue boat and acting as a spotter, and having a set of binoculars available to follow up on any potential targets is invaluable for me. So this is a waterproof set of Bushnell binoculars that always stay in my pack. Moving back, there's another little compartment in here. All I actually have in there at this point is a Sharpie, and I can use that permanent marker for labeling, flagging tape, for example, or anything else like that I need to label. One thing that I forgot to mention is that this pack also has a built-in rain cover here at the top. So it will actually just fold out like this, and you can put that over the whole pack. You'll see it also has a reflective medical cross symbol on here, so that will keep your pack dry, and you always have that with you because it's attached here on the inside. Now if you don't want it, you can simply remove it here, but normally I just keep it attached and in this little pocket. Alright, so that's an overview of what's in my SAR pack after close to 5 years of volunteering as a search and rescue member. This is a constantly evolving pack, so I have some things in mind that are going to come in here and some things that are going to come out. For example, I want to add a length of webbing as well as some more rope related gear, technical rescue gear in here, and possibly also beef up some of my food supply as well as my first aid supplies in here. But it's a constantly evolving and changing situation. So I'm just going to lay everything out here for you, and that way you can see how I have things organized in my pack. Alright, so here's an overview of all the contents of my SAR pack, starting with, at the top left corner, shelter making supplies as well as fasteners. Moving down here, so shelter making, fasteners, food and water, light, fire, clothing and personal protective items, and then my first aid kit. The navigation, my compass, I've got my binoculars over there, and some miscellaneous items. So as you can see, this all goes into this 35-liter pack with room to spare, and this is what I carry with me on a typical search and rescue mission. Alright, so I hope this video has been informative for you. Maybe you're putting together your own SAR pack. Take this with a grain of salt. Obviously you need to modify this for your particular region or wherever you are working. But this, I think, is a fairly good baseline of where to start when you're putting together your SAR pack. Now, as I mentioned, I plan to do more detailed videos on the various kits that I've explained here that are in my pack. So stay tuned for those, and we'll see you in the next video.